Good evening everyone to our meeting today on the 25th of February and I would like to start with if we could have all phones put on aeroplane mode please. Thank you very much. It interferes with our cameras. Thank you very much. And I'm going to start the meeting today with condolences to Joy Hughes from us. She was an ex-councillor and a former mayor. Would anyone like to say any words for Joy before we have a minute's silence? Councillor Flynn?
Yeah, it was quite sad news. It's about 4 or 5 weeks ago I heard of her passing, and although it wasn't sort of unduly sort of shocking, she was quite elderly and she'd done some years within Rother District Council in Central Ward, and I worked with her during my town forum days, so I believe Councillor Crotty probably remembers her days there. She was quite forthright in her views, and she was quite sort of adamant that Bexhill was a priority for her, and the residents of Central Ward always came first in her views. So yeah, it was sad news. So no, thank you for raising it at this meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Blagrove?
I would like to say that I knew Joy for quite a few years, and that she really loved the town. She was a great councillor, a very strong lady, and passionate in everything she said. She's done a great service for the people of this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Crotty?
Thank you. I will remember her little smile and her cheeky little grin that she used to do when she won a battle.
Thank you. Right, can we stand for a minute's silence? Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to move on to public participation. Would anyone from the public like to speak? You have 3 minutes. I'd like to just come to the microphone there.
Thank you. My name's David Jarvis. I came to a meeting a few weeks ago, so there are people in this room that were at the meeting previously. I'm not going to apologise for going over this again. I don't know how the council works. I'm not interested in your voting system or anything like that. Can I pass those to you so you can pass them around? I have to use a mobility scooter to get from where I live down to Tesco's at Ravenside. I've been complaining now for 8 months to get the Hastings Road pavement cleared. I've got 50 pages of emails between me, the council and the highways department. It's overgrown with weeds. Soil bank is encroaching across the pavement. When I go down on my scooter, one side of my scooter is literally just about hanging over the curb. I keep being told it's going to be inspected. When I came to the meeting previously, on that morning, I was told it's going to be inspected. That was the 4th time. I phoned Highways Department last week, got an apology from the young lady that I was speaking to. She said, OK, sorry about it's not been done. We'll send a steward out to investigate. 5 times it's been investigated. Doesn't need inspecting anymore. It needs clearing before someone has an accident. I don't know how to do it, but I can promise everyone in this room, if there's an accident on that road, after the amount of times I've complained about it, I will find out about how I hold this council to account on criminal negligence. It needs clearing, and it needs clearing now. No more inspections. It needs doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll have our town clerk investigate that. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? Yep, would you like to come to the microphone? Thank you.
Hello, thank you for giving me a few minutes to speak. For those of you who don't know me, there's quite a few who do, I'm Lindsay White. I'm the founder and CEO of Community Supporters, who I'm representing today. And I just wanted to come and speak to you because I know there's a lot of talk about the cultural town. And I know the Bexhill Town Neighbourhood Board are bringing that forwards and looking at that, which is great for Bexhill if we can get it. But there's also an accreditation for towns to be accredited as a nature town. And I would like to work with the town council on this actually, because you need to have a local authority on board. We're an environmental education charity, so we've got a very good remit with the Bexhill Beach Garden for doing this sort of work. And it's the sort of accreditation that would mean that a town can promote green spaces, get people out into nature, improve parks, and improve accessibility to nature and things like that, similarly to the beach garden. And I just wanted to kind of put it on your radar to maybe sort of work with you and see how we can bring this forwards, maybe as well as the cultural town as well, and really bring Bexhill to the fore for many different reasons. So short and sweet, but hopefully I'll leave it with you. And
Thank you. That'll be noted. Thank you. Okay. Would anyone else from the public like to speak? No? Thank you very much. I'll move on to apologies for absence. Councillor Ruston, Councillor Wilson and Councillor Carroll have sent their apologies for their absence. Thank you. I'll move on to receive declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. Councillor Drayson.
So tempted to say the usual. Member of Rother District Council.
Thank you. Councillor Winter.
Member of Rother District Council.
Thank you. Councillor Byrne.
Member of Rother District Council.
Thank you. And Councillor Smith.
Member of Rother District Council.
Thank you very much. Chair's announcements. So my only announcement is I will be taking out 13, which is to receive updates from external representatives. We have got a big agenda today, so I'm going to defer that to the next meeting. If you do have anything, you can send that over to the clerk and she can send that out to all other councillors. Thank you. So yeah, as I said in that, we've got a very large agenda tonight, so if we can, with some things, I will say what I want the point to be, if that's okay, and then if we can get to that rather than sometimes it can go on for a bit longer than it needs to. So I will try and rein it in as much as I can tonight. Thank you. So next one is to approve the minutes of the meeting for Wednesday the 28th of January 2026. Councillor Peter, yes, are you proposing or? Okay.
Okay, well, I'll say it's entry 00409, page 143.
Yep.
And it's to do with Councillor Jason's vote, recorded vote. My name is missing from the list and I voted in favour of the motion.
Okay. Can I have a
you need it as an amendment. So what
Yeah.
we need to add that is an amendment, and then you're going to need to decide whether you're happy with that amendment, with the minutes with the amendment.
Okay. So do I have a proposer for with the amendment on that? Councillor Drayson?
Yeah.
Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Crosby? Thank you. And a vote for those minutes, please. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? Thank you. Yep.
Quite a few pages to do.
Thank you very much. So moving on to 6 is to delegate the authority to the deputy clerk. Just need that's to delegate the authority to the deputy clerk until we have a thoughts.
So then we this commitment to
Sorry. Okay. Sorry, I'm skipping what we've discussed. Okay. So this is obviously for the properties that we spoke about, and the most simple way to look at this today, and then we can move on from there, is I think we'd like to get to a stage of, do we want to rent, do we want to buy property freehold, or do we want to buy land and then build on that land? I think today the discussion should be based on that, and then we can take it from there. Otherwise, realistically, it's how long is a piece of string if we start discussing everything. So I think if we get to that stage of what we want to actually do, and then we can go from there. So if it's buying a property, we then look for properties which our clerk has looked for, and we have, so we can go and look at them, etc. Or we can obviously delegate that to our town clerk and then go from there. So I'll open up the discussion, and I can see Councillor Drayson's hand up.
Thank you, Chair. I wish I could move getting rid of this and never seeing the light of day again, but I'd like to move that we defer this. This cannot be the way that this council decides on new premises that's going to last for 10 to 20 years. We cannot keep getting people's ideas. I could have brought one tonight that's a disused pub in Hailsham, and you would have said it has to be in Bexhill. Where? We've never said. We have never created a strategy and a list of what we want, what we don't want. You want to start with, should we buy it or rent it? No, let's start with, definitely we've got to get out. We wasted last at the Communities Committee because nobody would start a working group. I can't move a working group. I can move a subcommittee or a committee, but I can't move a working group tonight. We cannot just simply go down, oh, here's a good idea, and every month we go, oh, yes, no, because we haven't got a list we're comparing it to. We haven't got a wish list, we haven't got a trailer, and we haven't got a strategy. We are fishing in the dark.
Councillor Goss.
I mean, I tend to agree, maybe not quite as strongly as that was put, but to choose between them, the whole lot's a moving target, whether it's today or next week when things change again and something else comes up. So to try and pick one of those, just to home in on one item or one option today, I think would be rather difficult and maybe short-sighted. If we suddenly say, okay, we're going to buy a shop, well, okay, something else might come up next week that completely changes that on its head, and people are then going to say, well, you've changed it again. It's a very difficult subject, but I think to a certain extent the options need to be open. I mean, you can decide to buy a building here, then find the building, when we look at it, is unsuitable, so we go backwards again. I mean, it's just an iterative process that has to happen in a way.
As I said, this discussion can be how long is a piece of string, and that's why I'm trying to. And the discussion of, you know, a committee would be great, but that committee could then decide something, and then it comes to council, and then the council don't agree it. So the whole point today would be, if we agreed that we're going to buy somewhere as a whole council, then there could maybe be a committee, and then that committee can go away and say, right, what do we need in that building that we're going to buy? Because at the moment that committee is going to then go away, if there is a committee, they're going to go away and say, right, we've got 3 things here, we're either going to buy, and they're wasting time by looking at a block, because then they're going to do 3 different strategies. Whereas if we decide today what we want to do, there can maybe be a committee brought in that can then say, right, okay, well, we're going to buy a property. So that would be my view.
I
But
tend
obviously,
to agree,
everyone.
but I think we need to aim or set down what we're looking for, i.e. a building which will house 20 people, if we need to have parking with this, and see what the needs are, and then
I understand,
appropriate
Councillor Goss, but the thing is today would be ideal if we just decided whether we're going to buy a building, land, or lease, and then we can decide what we need from there. But I will let everyone else discuss. So I'm going to go around the room from this way, if that's okay, and come around. So Councillor L.
We can defer this again. We can say we're going to talk about it later. We can put it off again. It needs to be spoken about now. We need to sort this out. We've been dilly-dallying on this for over 2 years now. We know we need to get out. We're thinking about working groups and subcommittees, but we also have to remember this building is solely not going to be just ours. It's going to be used by our staff and our officers. They're the people that could tell us what's suitable and what's not. They're the people that can tell us what we need to be looking for and how they need to use it. We do have to work out certain strategies, whether it is one of those 3 options, whether it is also an option of where do we want it. Do we want it in the centre of the town? Do we want it outside of the town? Because there's lots of options outside of the town, but in the centre would make more sense for all the residents coming in. We do have to talk about this, and we do have to use today's meeting to do that, and we do have to come up with some sort of strategy, as Councillor Drayson has said, because we do not have one, and we've spoken about having one now for many years. So I think today we have to hone down on that and make some tough decisions.
Thank you. Councillor Plim.
Yeah, reading what the actual motion says is to delegate authority to the Deputy Clerk to produce scenarios based on Councillor Wilson's motion for future premises of Bexhill-on-Sea and report these back to full council. Now, we've been fortunate enough, the Deputy Clerk has produced some scenarios here in Appendix B, and that gives us a flavour of what we could be heading towards and gives us various routes and options we can go for. That does not mean we have to make that decision now. Property market's fluid, we all know that. What we look at today is not going to be what we look at tomorrow. We could probably make a decision today, and then a couple of weeks down the line we think, oh, something else has cropped on the market, or there's a plot of land that's available, or there's a rented accommodation available and it's more suitable for us, and things may change. But at this particular moment, I think we're quite fortunate in the short space of time that the Deputy Clerk has had. The 4th of February this was decided at Amenities Committee, that the Deputy Clerk has produced these scenarios for us to consider and look at. We may today look at this and say, actually, this council favours option A, B, C, D or whatever like that. And we may give the Deputy Clerk a strategy to work to. Then again, we may not. It's our decision. Do we want to go forward with this? And no one's making a hard and fast decision on a property this evening, but it's scenarios that we could follow. But do we want to do that, or do we want to kick it into touch and wait even a little bit longer? It's up to us tonight.
Thank you. Councillor Blago.
Thank you. We've certainly got enough time. We're not late in the day, so we've got enough time to think what it is we'd like to do. And the thing is, you could talk about this all day long, but the thing is, we don't have a plan. We actually don't have a plan. So it's like going out shopping without a list, where you don't know what you're buying. And it's all very well saying, right, let's decide, are we buying or are we selling, or are we renting? If we said, all right, let's buy, next week we could find somewhere really good to rent. So that doesn't make any sense to make that scenario straight away. I think a good idea may be that all the councillors write into the clerk with what they would be looking for and what is important to them, and then maybe you could make something out of that, because otherwise we will sit around this table and I don't think we're going to get very far.
Okay. I will come round in a second. I would like to just say though, remember that we are councillors for 4 years. We have 1 year left, okay? In 1 year we may be gone, but the people that work in the offices may be there for another 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So I think it's great if we give our ideas, but I think we also need to let our town clerk and our staff look at what they want rather than what we want. And as I said, our ideas are great, they will take on board our ideas, but we may be all gone in a year's time. So it's not what we want, it's what they need to work in. Councillor Lee?
Yeah, you've got rent, buy or whatever. I honestly think buy has got to be the option. Okay. Rentals can go wrong very quickly. If you bought something, it's yours, we own it, it's ours, it's an asset. It's ours and it's ours forever. You rent something, anything could happen. You know, the landlord might want to sell it, and it would be rather disamusing if we got evicted, the council got evicted from a property.
Okay.
Buying, I think, is the only option. I don't think land in the town is available, though, and there's anything available. We have looked around. So I think option one is to buy.
Thank you.
I can't see the point in renting, and I can't see the point in looking around and think, because we do need something in the town. My opinion.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I think we need somewhere in town that's accessible to the public. I think we need somewhere that we can store stuff for workers, so that may be a different place. My preference is to rent, because my assumption is that we're not so sure enough about what we want to make buying sensible, and my experience of the property market is that there aren't enough places to buy to be able to get what you want. If I'm wrong on that, I'll stand corrected.
I mean, I know where you're coming from. I think personally it changes every day, doesn't it? So something, as Councillor Plim said, it may be that we look at somewhere today and then tomorrow something else comes on sale or for rent, whatever it is. But yeah, I know where you're coming from. Councillor Byrne?
Thank you. My views are that I have two end points in view. I don't expect everyone to agree, but I would like to either see us back in the town hall or to see us build on a greenfield site or a brownfield site a new modern eco-friendly building with solar panels and all the bits. Somewhere down the track I would like to think that's going to be the home of Rother District Council. No,
not
Rother District Council. Absolutely not. No, I have no will for Rother to carry on whatsoever. Okay, but the other thing is with buying, I agree it's always the best end point, but when you're in a fluid situation, renting is better because it does give you the flexibility. And with local government reorganisation, we don't know what size or shape town councils are really going to be. It's all a guess. So I've got in my mind two end points that I think we could actually say, you know, our permanent home should be this or this, and my ideas there are either new build or the town hall. On the way, how do we get there, I think is almost an operational decision of how do we get there, what sort of ground, what sort of space is available, what length of lease could we take. They're all like you say, it's how long is a piece of string. But I think we could agree on an end point and leave flexibility on how we get from where we are now to where we're going to be, which then gives us the flexibility for change of council members, for different property situations, different market situations, and different staff needs. In do we get a lot bigger, do we get a lot smaller, what happens to the neighbourhood board, and all those sort of questions.
Thank you. Councillor Plenty?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we had lots of conversations when Julie was here about their staffing needs, their space needs, so we know all that. We were given all that, and it is operational, totally agree with that, and the end vision. But I think we have to be careful, because I'm not sure what the budget is. I can't remember what it is for this project. And I'm not sure. Yeah, we haven't got a budget. But I don't agree with renting, because the situation we're in now is really causing us quite an issue, isn't it? Because the building we can't do things to the building, it's not really practical, etc., etc. So I would say buy something in the town. I agree with that. But I don't agree that we haven't had any information or strategy, because we had an awful lot of discussion about the needs, and there is a growth plan, is there not?
Yeah.
So we know exactly how many staff we are going to end up with. We knew we were going to have rangers, we knew we were going to have equipment, so I'm astounded that we think that's a surprise. So, there is information already. So well, it's a bit speechless, really, that we have to go back to the drawing board.
Thank you. Councillor Goss?
Not with that, to be honest. I think, particularly at this stage when we don't know what we're going to be in 5 years' time, whatever, with the devolution and everything else. Renting, the vast majority of companies rent a building. Developers develop them, build them, and they rent them out, lease them out. And that gives you the flexibility, so that in another 5 years, maybe we need something completely different to what we've rented now. It's easy to get out and to move. If you've got to try and sell the building which you've designed for yourself to do one thing, it may not be quite so easy. I would suggest that, I think we've gone through it several times, but the Deputy Clerk and her officers put together a list of what the requirements are, and as she's already done, look at the market and we'll see what's there, and we need to match the requirements to what is available and sort of take it from there. If we could, if a suitable building does become available, yeah, we could look at buying it, bearing in mind the costs and the cost of refurbishment and that sort of thing of existing buildings. So it can be an open option, but we need just a basic list of what is necessary. It's going to be in the town, it's going to house so many people, it'll be good for the next 5 years or whatever. Maybe longer, if something suitable comes up that we can buy and we can transform into what we want, fine, but we need flexibility.
Okay, thank you. Right, I'm just going to go this way, and then I want to get I want to finalise it, if that's okay. I'll start with Councillor Hunt.
Thank you. I think we're missing the point slightly, in the sense that we're sitting here, we're discussing renting, buying, long term. From what I can understand, the staffing needs at the moment is more short term rather than long term. If we was to buy a plot of land, by the time it's built, we're talking 2-3 years time. The staff in there at the moment are saying it's unworkable, it's unattainable in there. We need to be looking at something more short term and then long term, because we're not going to buy a property within the next 2 months. We're not going to buy a plot of land and build in the next 6 months. How urgent is it for the people that are actually working in those offices that we make a decision and move them from where they currently are.
Yeah, thank you. Just so everyone is aware, they are looking for office space, so that is on the agenda for them now. So they are looking for office space just to expand slightly, but the discussion is what we do for the future, really. Councillor L.
Unfortunately, I'm sensing a touch of deja vu in this room tonight.
Absolutely.
The whole reason of the three options we were given by the chair tonight was simply because of this. We've gone round the table now and we've gone buy, sell, rent, build. Everyone's got a different idea. So we as a collective unit have to narrow that down if we're going to talk about it anymore. Otherwise we'll be talking about this endlessly, and we'll be talking about it a year later. We'll be talking the next council will be talking about it when we're gone, if we're gone. So I do think we have to start narrowing it down. Coming to things like the Rangers, there's options like warehouses, like garages. We can look into that for storage as well. It doesn't have to be connected to a building we're looking for. I really do agree with Councillor Timper and Councillor Byrne when we're talking about it being operational. It absolutely is an operational decision. But at the end of the day, these meetings are down to us. So we take what we've heard from the staff, and we've heard it all before. It's nothing new. We don't need to hear it again. We know exactly what it is that we need. We just have to make our mind out how we're going to get to that end point. Because the more we carry on talking about this, the same situation we're going to be in next meeting and the meeting after that.
Thank you. Councillor Plim?
Yeah, I've got in my mind where I think we should be going at the moment, but I'm very keen to let everybody else have their say on it. What I would like to find out, though, is mention was made of the town hall. We have declared an interest in the town hall, and am I right in saying that Rother District Council has refused to devolve the town hall to the town council? Or has that not been decided yet?
I haven't had a confirmation either way.
Either way.
But we have been told that they're not going to, so that is true.
That's no.
So we haven't actually been told no yet, but we have been told no, if that makes sense.
But who has made that decision to say no?
We were told by, when we had our meeting actually, I think you were there, no, you were there as well with Joe Powell.
Oh, the division meeting, yeah.
So we were told that they wouldn't be giving us the town.
So, right, now this is probably the first time that members of the public have realised this, that this town council that was created to serve the people of Bexhill is being refused any aspect of inhabiting the historic town council building, or town hall, in Bexhill. It seems strange that that is the case. And shocking that we have a district council that is looking like that towards half of its population, to not have the historic representational site that the town council, in my view, should be in. However, I think we should not lose sight of that, because things do change, and unitary authorities coming in might not want to be located on the south coast. They might want to be inland a little bit. And I think we should still keep that in mind. That still should be this council's ambition. However, there is another option there I think that we could use in the short term, and I think we should go for, but I would let other people have their say first.
Thank you. Right, Councillor Drayson.
I'll try and whiz through them. Yes, if we might have been told no, but let's write to Rother and ask and be told no in writing so that we know that's a fact. Thank you, Councillor L, for your bit there, because it was said that the staff need to take on our views and come to a decision. No, we need to take on their views and we come to the decision. It might be operational, but it's the council that makes the decision. Reference has been made tonight to the length of a piece of string. We've got to decide on the colour of a piece of string first. That's going to be impossible. Flexibility. Yeah, it's great. February 27 is the breakout. That's the deadline we need to get to. Otherwise, we have to have the hub for another 5 years. Even if we don't use it, we have to pay for it or pay to break the lease. So it's been said tonight we know what we want. Well, why did we all go and look at the villa that was clearly unsuitable? We apparently know what we want, but we still went and looked at a building that was totally unsuitable and could have not ticked the box. Oh, I can't read me own writing there. You're safe from that one, I think. And yes, it's. We've talked about. You said buy, rent, but we've had all the versions tonight around this room. And actually, we might have to rent until we can buy. I like Councillor Burns. Ultimately, we want to buy. Ultimately, it could be the town hall. But next week, we might have to do something different till we get there. And we need that vision. And I'll shut up.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
I agree. Okay, I'm going to try and just. I want it to be. Otherwise, can go on all night. So, Councillor Crotty.
Yeah, it is. Just wait for you. Have I start on that one?
Asleep.
No, I wish. I think what we're losing fact is that this is the public's funds. This is the public money that we're looking at spending. And if we waste it away on renting, that's just wasting money. I believe fully that we should be buying a building that's big enough to hold plus more whatever comes down the line, that is going to be used as an asset if we shrink, move away, or anything else that happens, that the money that we spend is the public's funds, and that the money that if we lose can go back in selling that property. That is what we need to get a thing of, is that these are public funds that we are spending, and if we're going to waste it on renting, then that's a waste. It needs to buy a building that we can then, may modernise, do up, but at the end of the day, it's then, if we don't use it anymore because it's too big or too small, we can then sell it on and get some money back to our residents.
Okay, Councillor Blake.
Well, we've been given a few properties to look at, to buy, to sell, whatever it is, and we don't seem to be talking about any of them, so I'll start off by saying that I think this one's very good.
Okay,
this one to rent, maybe we rent at 5 years, maybe we buy at 10 years.
Yeah. But, thank you.
Shall we go and have a look at it? We've looked at one. Shall we pick another one and go and look at it?
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole point of where I started, was if we can just get to that, and then we can get to that. Otherwise, if we don't get to what we actually want, then we're not really, there's no point of going and looking at buildings if that's not what the council wants. But yeah, I mean it's big, it's in a great place, it's central. I think it's ideal, but we won't know that unless we all go and have a look at it. Thank you. Okay, so there's a few more hands, and then I just want to get this wrapped up, if that's okay. Councillor Winter.
Thank you, Chair. It's quite evident, clearly, going around the room, nobody knows what they're doing.
Do you mind?
None of us have a clue what we're doing, and it just seems that we're kicking the ball into the long grass. Well, we're only here for a year. Well, we don't know what's coming down the track. Well, if you do that, it'll be another council that come along and then elect, and they'll go, oh, well, we won't know what's coming down the track. And they'll say exactly the same thing. We'll just keep going and going, and the ball will just get lost in the long grass. I do agree with what Councillor Drayson has said. I think it needs to be deferred. None of us have got an idea what strategy that we want to go down in buying or renting or building a property.
Could I ask a question on that then, please?
Yes.
If you're saying deferred, and so is Councillor Drayson, what would it be deferred to? So what would come from that?
I have a thought in my head, and as soon as you've asked the question, I will verbalise it, and it may be stupid, I don't know, it's quite possible. I've been on this council since day dot, and we've been talking about this since day dot.
Yeah.
And we're now almost 5 years on.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's clearly not going to come from the full council. There are too many opinions in full council. It clearly needs to go to a committee. I know it's at amenity, but I don't think amenities is the correct committee. I think we need something else other than amenities committee, whether it's another committee. It needs something with teeth where the staff, because a working group, although the staff can attend, normally in a working group the staff don't attend, it's just for councillors. So if you have a committee, the staff are there so they can feed into it if they want to as well. We will obviously feed into it, and then that feeds all back to full council. That's not come from amenities, because we're here now and we've wasted 30 minutes talking about it already.
But we're at full council now and we're not coming to agreement, so how...
And that's what I'm saying, take it away from amenities and take it away from full council to something else. What that something else is...
But then what if that committee come back to full council and then full council don't agree?
Then it needs to be deferred indefinitely until there's a different council with better opinions.
Because that's what I'm trying to get at.
That's what needs to happen. I think we need to then defer
if
it.
we come to an agreement tonight at rent,
but I don't think we are.
Land, then
we've got buy, sell, build. We've got buy, sell, build. No one here. I think we've got the strategy in terms of looking after the staff and where the staff are going and what, as this council is building and getting better. But I don't think anybody in this room has a property strategy. What property we want and what property we're looking for. And that is the issue. So that's why I think it just needs to be deferred indefinitely because nobody's got an idea.
I've just said I'll wait for everyone to go around the table.
Apart from the town hall.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there is something our town clerk just said, is there is a strategy coming in place where the committees will be the chairs of the committees will be meeting. Yeah.
There was a resolution of this full council to set up a strategy committee that would come into fruition in the new council year, so from May, and which then obviously the meeting schedule would be put together with that strategy committee meeting. I believe the makeup of it that was agreed was it would be chairs and vice chairs of each standing committee and vice chair and chair of council, and they would meet. Now that's the other mechanism you could use to defer it to that committee, because obviously, like you said, Councillor Winter and Councillor Drayson, is that it's been to amenities and amenities deferred it here.
Thank you very much, Town Clerk, for verbalising what was in here. Thank you very much.
Would we like to put that before we have any? Because today's quite a big agenda, so I'd like to. I'm gonna, if we can be as quick as we can, if that's okay, and I'm going to go council.
The thing is, we got three options. It was buy land, rent, or buy. Can we not just vote on that now? Take one vote, get rid of one, and then we got one thing we're going to go for.
Councillor Al?
That's along the lines of what I was going to say. I understand what Councillor Winter is saying, but you're also saying no one's got an idea. No, actually, I oppose that. We all have an idea, but it's just not collective. It's not a united idea, which is perfectly normal in the council of 18 councillors. So it is something that's been brought to us by the chair. It's something that's possible to go to a vote, and it should go to a vote tonight. And then we will get a collective idea from that. We will get an outcome. And it might not be one that everyone is happy with, but that is the system that we use in this council. We vote for things and we get the outcomes and we move things along. We want to move things along.
This is what I was saying. We've got three options. It's buy, rent or buy land.
Because we do know what we want, but we each want
something different. Can we not whittle it down to like one option tonight?
Let me just go through the other councillors, and then, but if we can be as quick as possible, and then I want to get to a vote, if that's okay.
I'm right in saying that we want to be out of the current building by February next year, which is a year away.
We have to give notice. Realistically, we need to. Yeah, we need to give notice.
So we're not going to build anything by then, and there will be a point at which we're not going to buy anything in time for that. I don't care whether we buy or rent. I do care whether we get out in time and we get what we want. So therefore, the brief to the clerk should be to find somewhere that we can get into in time, shouldn't it?
There are also, remember, there are agreements that can be made with the current lease, I'm sure, with the landlord, that if we wanted an extra year or two, we could probably say, look, we not coming out.
They want to get out.
Sorry?
They want to get out.
We do, but if we need to and we've got a plan, and that plan's 2 years, then I'm sure we could come to an agreement. I'm not guaranteeing that, but I'm sure that the owner of the building would be happy to extend it for another year if we needed to, if we had a plan and strategy, that is. So I'll go to Councillor Thomas.
Yes, we're trying to make a plan for what we want, but we want the thoughts of the town clerk, which we haven't got at the moment, until the end of this meeting, and we will appoint a new town clerk. So I think it's all very well us having ideas, but we need to take on board what the town clerk, his views, or our views.
I mean, we've got a bit of a strategy from our old town clerk and from our current town clerk, and I'm sure it wouldn't change much with an office space of what they would need with a new town clerk. But yeah, I'll take that on board. Thank you. Councillor Byrne?
I'd like to make a proposal. I would like to propose that we ask the town clerk to enter into a rental agreement for not more than 3 years with a property that meets our immediate operational needs. And my reasoning behind that is, at the same time, we can still, those who are in favour of buying can still look at buying, but as I say, for not more than 3 years, I think it's a reasonable thing to say for rent. We don't think it locks us into anything, and it gives us the flexibility, whereas it gives the clerk the flexibility to move as quickly as possible if the right operational space becomes available.
I'll second that.
Okay, you're seconded. Yeah, okay.
Can I put it to a vote? Do we want to still debate?
Could I just talk on that particular subject, because that is what scenario G actually says.
Yeah.
So if we look through what we've been presented with here and look at the end of it, it does say to consider scenarios based on the options available at the time of the report. So we consider these scenarios. And what you've suggested there, scenario G is stay in the hub and look for additional overflow space.
Yeah. I'm just saying, put a limitation on the renting, not more than 3 years.
Yeah, and then what we do with that is also, on the back burner, is our ambition to get into the town.
Indeed.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Goss, and I'll come to, and then we need to come to a.
I would generally agree with that, except that the hub is not suitable. So I would suggest similar, but looking for a suitable, having a suitable area.
That's what Councillor Byrne said. It's not with the hub.
Yeah, well, sorry, it was going back to this one. That's a bit of but so that we have the flexibility. RDC aren't going to be there for more than about another year, 18 months.
Maybe.
The strategic authority, unitary, whatever they are, may well decide they don't need all the town hall. There's space in there for us. I mean, the town hall's pretty big. There could be space in there for us to share with them. In which case that gives us the central space that we need with parking and everything else. But we need to give notice on the hub February, March next year.
So we just need to discuss the motion, if that's right. And then, thank you. Councillor Tracy.
I'd like to clarify that, because when Councillor Plim said to me it's option G, I thought, no, it's created a new scenario H, because I didn't think you were suggesting staying in the hub. I thought you were suggesting still finding alternatives for 3 years. Were you saying stay in the hub and have the clerk go and rent somewhere extra, or were you talking about replacing the hub for no more than 3 years?
I was talking about entering into a rental agreement for space that fits our operational needs, so that could be hub plus or total move, but for not more than 3 years. So I was asking the clerk to come up with something that is operationally practical, but to limit that for 3 years and give us, that's what I thought was the right flexibility.
And therefore, just so it's flexible, that the clerk can come back with stay in the hub and
a hybrid,
rent some extra,
if
or rent new.
Depending on the market values and all the other pieces of string that we're trying to make.
Could we add to that maybe and say, whilst looking, or do we actually want the group? We want the group to look. Okay, no, that's fine.
I think just leave it to operational requirements.
Councillor Plim, and then I'm going to go to a vote.
Yeah, take on board what was said there. Yeah, stay in the hub, look for additional overflow space, because we know the overflow space is more to do with our operational side of things. And one of the options attached to scenario G is to look at office space for a vehicle parking and equipment. So G would be the route to go down, I think. Yeah.
Would you like to add on there that we can then pass it on to the
or to that group, whatever you're going to call it.
Yeah, so to pass it on to the strategy, so the chairs and vice chairs.
I say the amendment to the motion would be, and furthermore, pass the decision making process to the strategy committee.
Yeah. Yeah.
For our final destination.
For our final
Yeah,
destination.
hopefully wording,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got to that. Yeah. So I've got a proposer for that, which is Councillor Thomas. Councillor Burns' motion added. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then added. Please pass on to this.
Yes, I've got the proposal is for me to enter a rental agreement for no more than 3 years for rent only. Sorry, I'm typing as well. In the region of the Hub Plus or a complete move, and then pass the decision process to the strategy committee for the long-term agreement of the location of Bexhill-on-Sea Town Council.
Okay. And I think everyone's happy there. Okay. So I've got a second, which is Councillor Thomas, and then can I have a vote for that, please? Anyone against? And I'm abstaining. Thank you. Right, what happened? That was passed. Yeah, passed. Yeah, yep. I say carried. It's not carried. Thank you very much. Right. Moving on to, let me just check that. Moving on to 7, which is to receive an update on the work of the Mayor. There is no update. He's on holiday, so that's it. Fair enough. Reports from councillors. So external councillors. Do I have anyone? I do. Councillor College.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairman. You've probably all seen this and had this. Part of the work of the Neighbourhood Board was to make use of redundant and empty buildings that we've got around town, similar to what you've just been talking about, but also use as a document to bring investment to Bexhill. When you've got £20 million, you could use that as a down payment, as a sort of 10% mortgage to bring £200 million from developers. But you can only do that if you have a vision, if you have a plan. What you've been talking about with the where you're going to have, you've got a civic building in Rother District Council. There's a chamber office been used since Henry Lane built it, whenever it was, 1896. It's changed in 1974 and went over to Rother ownership, but it's still a public asset. The likelihood is that when the new council is elected in May 27 for the unitary, that they will then be a preparing authority till May 28, when all the assets will merge together, and that will be a redundant building in terms of the chamber. So once it's a redundant building, I would personally, if I were you trying to negotiate a deal, say, you don't want it. Do what you like with it. And then let them come begging to you, say, do you want it at a cheaper price? Yeah. The way you do your negotiating is up to you. You never tell somebody you want to sell something you want anyway. Parking. Let's get to Zone F. That was a difficult debate where people who want to park for free near to the beach, near to Connington Station, to go to employment and work in town, they were doing that regularly. You also had people who had camper vans, trailers, vans just left there for months, years on end, and they just deteriorated and the MOT expired. So you were turning it into what it wasn't its main function, a nice residential public highway and a residential street. So that the residents wanted a parking zone. Everybody else that parked there for free that didn't live there wanted it otherwise. So the debate went on. It wasn't my decision. The committee came up with a decision to go ahead with Zone F, even after officers said, well, maybe not going to do it. So that's something that has happened. It's going to happen. It's not ideal for anybody, but it's the best compromise that we could do. The other thing that's happened in East Sussex, they are the Highway Authority. You probably noticed that there's quite a few roadworks, diversions. Everywhere you go, there's a sign saying diversion goes. So we've set up another committee to look at street works, and that report, the next meeting, the final meeting is on Friday. Won't be able to be there because we've got the train meeting at the Cooper Beach, which is going to be lovely. But on this street works committee, we've been looking at every single licensing from all the different gas, Openreach, South East Water, Southern Water, of what we legally must do to grant them a licence to do repair works, temporary works, emergency works, the different types of works. Part of that is we found that we had a thing from a street manager, which is a DFT based site, that everybody that works on the highway must register what they're going to do. That's not for public use. What is for public use is the One Network Causeway, which I believe you use. What we found there that there's an enhanced mechanism for that anybody with a .gov account with an email can get access to. So I said before we roll it out to every parish council around in East Sussex, we look at it first to see whether it's going to add any value, going to complicate things with giving you too much information. But provided we can give that to the town clerk and all the councillors, then that may be able to give you more information about particular roadworks in an area. Something we learned on this that we can't investigate, which I wasn't particularly happy with, is this lane rental. The government just said, let's solve roadworks problems by creating a lane rental scheme. And as far as I can see, the lane rental scheme is £2,500, £2,400 per day to rent a lane, where you have two-way lights, it's just a lane that's rented. To do a road closure is only £1,200 a day. So if you were a business digging up a road, what would you do? You'd spend £1,200, close the road off and do all the works. You wouldn't pay £2,500. So I think there's something that is unintended consequences there, but there was lots and lots of other detailed things to explore to try and make the highway flow better. Right, budgets. Any questions about budgets of money? The Sussex, so we're 83% of our budget goes on adult social care and children's services. We've only got that much to fill in our potholes. Right.
Councillor Peters, and then we'll move on just because we've got...
Yeah, so I do have a question about the budgeting. Firstly, thank you for sending us the budget a few days ago. It's a clear and sobering budget report, and I was actually shocked to see that the council spends 83% of its money on just two services, which explains why there's the roads are in the state that they are. But my question is, on the budget report you're saying, item 7.2, SEND deficit, and let's read the sentence, the SEND dedicated schools grant deficit will reach 76.5 million by 2028. My question to you is, how is this shortfall going to be covered?
Oh, by a accounting mechanism. Oh, don't ask me, I'm not a bean counter, I'm not an accountant, but the government decided to put it off the books. And by 2028, it's going to go back on the books. So it's going to be a debt. We've also had to apply for what's called exceptional financial support, which you saw 2 days ago or even yesterday, that the government actually announced all the different councils, Spelthorne, Woking, all the councils around the country, that when they put in the application for this the FS, can get it. I know, I'm out of time. Anyway, we've got 70 million, but it's money we've got to pay back. They're going to give it to us, but we've got to pay the debt on it at a higher rate of interest. So don't ask me. It's for accountants to work out, but it's not good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Any reports from ward district councillors? Any reports from any town councillors? Councillor Crotty?
Thank you. Yeah, it's sad news that Santander have got their end date of the 19th of March, and obviously another sad news is that the factory shop is going to be closing at some point. They still haven't got a date yet, they're still looking at the news. What I will basically ask will be the fact that's concerning is in the draft local plan, if it gets approved, we could lose the majority of our car parks around Bexhill and the town centre.
Is this a report or...?
This is a report, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And with what I would ask residents to do was to actually look at their draft local plan, read it, and if there's any objections to actually report in. They've got to the end of March, so I would recommend that they actually look at that and see what can be done.
Thank you very much. I'm going to move on to... Sorry, Councillor Peters, sorry.
Really quick one. Just, I'd like to say that I did actually call out for the first time the town rangers to the Collington ward this time, and the process was very smooth. I was very happy with it. So I'd just like to report that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Going to move on to 9A, which is school crossing patrol, and I'll pass it over to our town clerk.
Yeah, this was a motion put forward, I think, couple of council meetings ago by Councillor Winter regarding providing or looking to fund some school crossing patrols on Birkdale and Little Common area. They've come back to me to say that, you know, they are, I can't think of my word, sorry, valid locations, and they were happy, East Sussex would be happy to fund the school crossing patrol at both of them locations. However, the problem they've got is actually recruiting for the role of school crossing patrol people. And would we, and what I'm asking for you to agree is, they're saying, would I be able to contact the school? Schools are the ones that are responsible for recruiting, and see whether we can help advertise their recruitment on our website, what we can do to help them to get it out there into a wider audience, on social media maybe. And are you happy for me to liaise with the school to do that?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
Absolutely.
It can be, yeah.
Do you propose that? Anyone like to?
Yeah.
There you go. A show of hands. We'll do Councillor Winter's proposed.
Okay.
Seconder, Councillor Crotty, and then a vote on that, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Second part to that was obviously the motion to put forward to ask County whether they were looking to devolve the whole of the school crossing patrol in Bexhill. They are not considering to do that right now. And that's where we are. So obviously down the line that may change, but at the moment that's not an option.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And moving on to 10A, so to receive update on neighbourhood plan, Councillor Winter.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Not a great deal. Just to say that all the documents and the statute, what the town clerk has submitted is the statutory neighbourhood area, has all been submitted as of the 17th of February, I think. So yeah, we're just waiting on Rother to hear back from their officers, and then we can go from there, and I shall organise a steering group meeting afterwards.
Thank you. Okay, and the next two can go into one, so B and C. Do any of the councillors have any views on this or any responses? Councillor Drayson.
So I'm going to separate again and just talk about B.
Okay.
Just to make people aware that there is a Rother District Council public meeting at the Pelham next Tuesday, the 3rd of March, from 3 to 7 at the Pelham. Officers will be there. Some councillors, I intend being there for a bit of it, will be there to go through, explain the site allocations, and also to encourage people to complete the consultation. There was a meeting mainly concerned with West Bexhill at the Wheatsheaf on this Sunday, but that's going to be repeated again at the Wheatsheaf 4 to 6 on Sunday the 8th. It will mainly be West Bexhill, but again, councillors will be there. It can help explain and encourage, and we'll have paper copies for those people who don't want to submit online. But I'll say again, it is important. Consultations are important. When the last time they did this, sites were taken out. Sites may well be, or many sites are likely to be taken out as a result of the consultation. Do not sit there and think they never take any notice, because they do.
Sorry, can you say the 8th?
The 8th on the Sunday at the Wheatsheaf.
It's the Sunday that makes
Yeah. 4 to 7.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just to correct Councillor Drayson, because he may not have known, because it has been changed. It's Saturday the 7th is our next meeting for the local plan at the Wheatsheaf 4 till 6. And the one that myself and Councillor Stanger organised was very well attended, with over 100 attendees, which in the grand scheme of things when it comes to local plan is very good.
Very good.
In my defence, Chair, I was at the meeting and they said the next meeting is on Sunday the 8th.
Thank you. Right, so that's now changed to the 7th. Thank you very much. Councillor Flynn.
Yeah, just to ask Councillor Drayson whether he knows this, or when any of the other district councillors know this. Given the amount of sites that are in central Bexhill, why there isn't a central viewing of the local plan? Because they seem to have concentrated on Sidley and Little Common. I know that the other sites are sort of sporadic around the rest of Rother, but we are 50% of the population in Bexhill. I'd have thought we'd have more than 2 occasions to look at this.
I can tell you, Sidley and Little Common are because the councillors have organised it. The Rother District one for all of Bexhill is the one I mentioned next Tuesday at the Pelham. but the only other ones are Westfield, Ticehurst, and I think there's a couple more on the list today later. There's not as many as there were for last year's.
Okay.
But yeah, it's for all of Bexhill on the 3rd at the Pelham.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Crotty.
Thank you. Going on with my colleague, Councillor Plim, does it mean that we can set, myself and Councillor Plim can set up one in central Bexhill, or is it RDC councillors?
I would suggest you get an RDC councillor to back it up and to get the officers down. It wouldn't stop you asking the officers to attend, but they might be less willing to do so for the town council, because it's very much a district council plan and a district council initiative responsibility.
So we could look at having it based at the town hall.
I think the last one was, but there's some reason why they can't.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Councillor Drayton. So, would anyone like to discuss or have any views on these? Is the question? Mark? No? Okay.
Can I just say on this, I know the planning department of Rother is responding to it. There's over 200 questions, I think, in the National Planning Framework consultation. I'm also going to reply as an individual, but that'll just be an email making some salient points about. And to say one thing, and it might affect Bexhill, is, for example, the government suggesting that we have a new medium development of 10 to 49 houses. In London, 10 might be medium. In a village in Rother that's only got 40, 10 is not medium, 10 is major. So it's going to be stop treating the country the same.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Right. Okay, so I'm going to move on with that, if that's okay. So you should have received Appendix C. Yeah. And our town clerk has produced that, so thank you very much. It's been done by just studying what other councils are doing, and there are dates for training. I believe Michelle will be sending them out for this. Does anyone have anything to say on it? If it's a large discussion, then if we can send that over to our town clerk, anything you'd like changed. If it's a small discussion, then maybe we can get this done today. Councillor Crotty.
Thank you. No, just basically I had to get a new phone, so I had to change over the details, and thanks to Michelle and Tom that I got it back up and running within a matter of minutes, so I'm glad about that. So I'm happy with it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything to say on this? Should we have it proposed then? Councillor Plim? Yeah, proposing. Yep. Seconder? Councillor Hunt? And then can we have a vote on this, please? Thank you. Thank you very much. That was easy. Right, moving on to 12. So Rother District Council to receive update on Pevsham Recreation Ground. I believe we're waiting for Rother District Council Cabinet to meet, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the update. Thank you very much. And then we're moving on to motions from councillors. So I'd just like to say that Councillor Lee wanted to remove D, and he's not here for E, and he said that can be taken out as well. So yeah, or deferred. Sorry, he wanted deferred. Sorry, that one. So E is deferred, D is removed. Okay. And then so we'll go with 14, and I know Councillor Grayson's been waiting for us for a while. So if we can, but we have, as I said, got quite a lot to do once we close the meeting. So if we can get these motions as quick as possible, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sure it can be. This motion arises from a question during public participation at November's meeting. The implication of that question was that decisions on who should be mayor and chair were made months before the election and is secret. I know from what Councillor Wilson told me that this was not the case this year, where he'd only decided to stand for re-election 2 weeks before the meeting. The previous motion of mine that was accepted called for the candidates to be finalised at April's meeting so that members could clearly see who was standing prior to the annual meeting, and that there were no surprises in the last month or indeed candidates putting themselves forward on the evening as I did this year. This motion seeks to give more clarity to the process and to ensure a regular changeover in the chairmanship of mayoralty. If no one comes forward in April's meeting, that of course would be exceptional circumstances and the current chair could put themselves forward for re-election. I am just slightly disappointed that in 5 years of the council we've only had 3 chairs. Thank you.
Councillor Winter?
I'd like to second and support that motion. Thank you.
Okay, any discussions on this motion? Councillor Peters?
Yeah, I think I pointed out a flaw to you on this 3 months ago when we first put it forward. If your plan is to stop the same people, the same 2 people rotating, then you need to put something in there that stops the mayor from applying to be deputy mayor in the following year. Otherwise, you can just be in a continuous cycle with the way we formatted this. So I think you need to change it from, what did you have it down as? You had it down as each year or something, to electable term. So instead of saying consecutive year, in an electable term, so that they can't stand more than once for either of the positions.
Okay, thank you. I would like to just say one thing before I go to Councillor Plym and Councillor Goss is, yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say it, but I'm happy for the deputy. It won't happen in my time anyway, but I'm happy for the deputy to become the mayor if they can. What I don't agree with is that I believe it says if you are the mayor that you can't stand again. I don't agree with, that's the only part that I wouldn't agree with. But other than that, I support that. Councillor Plym?
Yeah, that's the exact part of this whole policy that I disagree with. We have a system in place which is a democratic system that stood in place for best part of 120 years with this mayoralship for Bexhill, or chairship or whatever it was termed at the time. 18 councillors duly elected democratically come together and then democratically elect somebody to chair their meetings. That is based on guidance from the 1972 Local Government Act, and our wording for our standing orders for this is exactly what it says in the Local Government Act. To tinker with that will be absolutely stupid. It denies a democratic process. As Councillor Sain has just pointed out, you're denying one person the opportunity to be elected. Why are you singling out the current incumbent from standing again? So there is no reason to deny anybody the opportunity. Throughout the years of the mayoralship in Bexhill, there have been people that have stood twice, 3, and on occasion, I believe, there was 4 times, although it was during the wartime. But there are people that other councillors duly trust to carry on for 2 years. Why should you deny them the opportunity to vote someone in for a second term? It's just totally undemocratic.
Thank you, Councillor Fair. Councillor Goss?
Yeah, I sort of tend to agree with that. In the first motion, Appendix D, Section 2, Paragraph 2, whatever, sort of takes over part of Appendix E and assumes that Appendix E is going to be accepted. To be honest, whilst I didn't have too much problems with Appendix D, Appendix E I sort of did have, in that I don't think the Vice, whilst I would have no problems with the existing deputy taking over, it may not be the case in the future where somebody is deputy and during their term of year prove not to be quite so suitable to some of the councillors, and therefore wouldn't be voted in, shouldn't really be a shoe-in.
I agree. Councillor Thomas?
Yes, I take a view that the existing system works. Why tinker with it?
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Hunt?
Yeah, I think I just agree with Councillor Plym in the sense that there are 18 of us, there may only be 3 of us that ever want to be the mayor. So potentially you could get to a point where we don't have one at all. Because no one stands, because no one wants to do it. So I don't think you can go down the lines of, well, if you've stood once, you can't stand again. I think it's got to be, you can stand as many times as you like. Then if you get voted in, you get voted in.
I think we had this discussion before, didn't we, Councillor Drayson, where I said, I understand where you're coming from, but it just works. What we do works personally, but as I said, we're all here to have our opinion. And
also, I am reading the room, but for example, somebody could have suggested 2 years, not 1 then. The one where it's only 3 people, that's covered by exceptional circumstances. If nobody stands, then the mayor could continue. It's trying to ensure, I mean, cards on the table, it's really frustrating that the mayor and the chair have to come together and that legally both have to be, because it's different skill sets and could easily be done by 2 people, but the law don't allow it. The law doesn't allow it. So yeah, I can read the room. I mean, we can still go to a vote and kick it into touch permanently.
yeah, that's fine.
But it was an effort, and the thing again about, well, I'll save that for the next one, when that has a similar short shrift, I suspect.
Okay. Thank you. So this is, so you had a seconder, I believe, on this.
Yeah.
Councillor Winter. So can we have a vote on that, please?
Could you just read explain we're voting?
Oh.
Oh, it's a long one.
D. Oh, you want me to read the whole?
Well,
you've got Appendix D.
We were just voting on D, are we?
Yes.
On D, the chair and
Yes.
mayor.
As it stands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be against it.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I've got a seconder, so
Wait.
I have a vote for everyone for this
He's
motion.
made up his
please.
mind already.
Right, so everyone for this motion? I've got, yeah, super. Sorry. And then against? Okay. And then don't believe there's anyone left to abstain, so. Thank you. So that wasn't gone through. And then Appendix E.
I expect this will be even quicker, Chair, because it follows on from the last one, but it was based on my belief that the position of deputy anything is not a goal in its own right, and it's a stepping stone to the main job. I know there's already members here that don't agree with that and would quite like to be deputy and have no intention of doing so. The chair, but that's covered by the 3 of exceptional circumstances that the vice chair says, no, I don't want to be the chair. So it's similar to the other one. It's just trying to make sure that there's a churn of deputy mayors ready to take over the mayors come the election.
I think all I'm going to say on that is going back to what Councillor Goss said, is I agree that if I've done a really bad job, that I'm not elected as a mayor. And if you've got a deputy mayor that automatically goes,
No, not automatic. It would be expected, but not automatic. You still have to be voted. But
right,
yeah,
okay.
I suspect it's going to have the same result as the last one.
Okay, that's fine. So do I have a seconder for that motion, please? Councillor Winter, and then do I have a vote for?
The vote.
For, sorry.
Okay, and against? Okay.
It took 4 months to get in.
12 seconds to get out.
Thank you very much. So we are Councillor Crotty, and I would like to just say we've probably got about 10 minutes for motions, because we've got, once I close the meeting, we've got a lot to go through, if that's okay. Okay, so Councillor Crotty, do you want to?
Well, first thing I'd say thank you to Councillor Winter for the wording. Basically, it was just like we discussed at the finance, was about double taxation. That basically, if we're going to be getting the assets from Robert down to us, then we should be getting the money for the special expenses that Robert uses for those assets should become, we will have to put up. So really, Bexhill should then, Robert should just abolish the special expenses, because of the fact that we're going to have to put our budget up for it. But like you say, from listening to last full council, the assets might not come until down the line. So it's, and like I say, we've still got 2 more lists coming. It's kind of one of those chicken for the egg type thing, really. It's because it's just not. It was just really another way of just saying that, you know, but that the town council would rather them to abolish their special expenses, because if we're going to have the assets, then we'd be having to put the money up for that.
Okay. I mean, yeah, so what you want is to ask them if they will take their special expenses out if we're going to charge.
Yeah.
I doubt it, but we can ask them.
But like I say,
okay, Eddie, Councillor Goss.
I would imagine they will take out the line items that you get on your bill saying special expenses. It's whether they, because we've taken it over, whether they will find an accountable way to put it back in. I mean, they're limited to 4.99% unless they want a referendum anyway. So I'm not sure quite how they put it back in. They'll probably try somewhere, but yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with this, because it should come out and we're taking it over.
It would be amazing, but I just doubt very much that it's going to happen. But we can ask them. That's Councillor Drayton.
Really, Claire, obviously interested. Rather, I like the idea of asking, but I don't think we can demand, and I don't think we can require it of them, because they're responsible for their own taxation, and if they do include it elsewhere, we might be able to publicly disagree, but it's not our place to tell them they can't.
Councillor Plim?
Yeah, the sentiments are really, really good. There's no doubt about it. However, the practicalities of it all are just impossible. It's a forlorn hope. If you were going to go and dictate to another council how they spend their money, if they were spending 500,000 on parks and gardens, and we said to them, OK, then we have that 500,000, they're going to say, well, no, because we're going to spend it on social care or something along those lines. Or they could do what they want with their money. We can't dictate to them what they do with their money. We can just say, OK, we'll have the parks and gardens, thanks very much, now we look after them. Our money, yeah. They can do what they want with. They're an elected body, and they have to spend it in what they want. They are not going to turn around and say, oh, town council or parish councils are telling us what to do with their proportion of the elected. It doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, that's local government. It doesn't work like that.
Councillor Byrne?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really clear as a member of Rother District Council. Yes, I think this council resolves to seek written assurance that Bexhill ratepayers, well, they're not ratepayers, council taxpayers, there's a bit of an archaic term there, will not be charged twice for the same service. I think that's a completely reasonable thing to ask. Yeah. We would not expect to see an amount in the budget specifically predicated on an expense for this asset if we've got it. So I think that's completely reasonable, and I don't think Rother should resist it.
Okay, thank you. I think
I'll just shot myself in the foot.
Can I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Goss and...
So can I just clarify that Councillor Byrne is suggesting that only the last sentence become the motion.
Yes, I believe so.
But
So
Councillor Crotty has moved his motion.
Oh.
Well, is it just up for
it.
discussion? Because
No, I'm happy with the motion.
I can amend it to that last bit.
You're happy with the whole thing?
Yeah, it's a statement really. The only meaty bit is the bit I read out.
Yeah.
Requiring action.
If I can just suggest the amendment, then would be the last sentence, and it would read, this council further resolves to seek written assurances that Bexhill ratepayers will not be charged twice for the same service, and that all arrangements will remain compliant with Local Government Finance Act. I have not got a problem with that.
Just remove the word
because
further.
we're just asking them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I could suggest that amendment. Yeah.
I'll go for that.
He's accepted that.
Okay. So I have a seconder on that. Oh well, we do. Okay. Yeah. And then can I have a vote on that then, please? Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. That's carried.
So
again, we've got about 5 or 6 minutes, if that's okay. So I'm going to move on to Councillor L's motion.
So, with the state of the various recreation grounds around Bexhill during the winter, a lot of football matches, rugby matches and so on are cancelled, training is cancelled for the younger grassroots teams, week on week on week. These are cancelled, and the children are struggling. They're not being able to train. They're not being able to play. The college 3G pitch is very, very busy, very hard to get into, always booked up. We don't have a lot of other pitches around. I mean, I know teams from Bexhill going up to Claremont and so on, trying to use the AstroTurf pitches there. We did ask our staff to look into a promise made by the developers in the Pebsham area, which stated they would have a mugger, a multi-use ground built in their developments. That has come back, I believe, with the answer that there's now not going to be one there. I'd like to recommend looking into empty green spaces in Bexhill. I understand there's still a potential and opportunity for these green spaces to be devolved down to our council in the future. One of the ideas I had was the green space in between the Barrack Hall allotments and the Barrack Hall Children's Park. There's a very big green space. I'm not saying use it all up, but that would definitely be a place that I would look into, and I'd like to open that to a debate if possible. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Laygrove, you have your hand up first.
I'd just like to say that as regard to the Barrack Hall site, I didn't know whether you know that it constantly floods there. It's got a big flooding problem. I didn't know whether you knew that.
These are all built on structures that allow water to drain.
Oh, okay.
But obviously,
doesn't have to be that area. It's just it's open to discussion.
It's open to discussion in order to look into actually going forward and actively look for a site to plan building a mugger.
We have got two suggestions I'd like to just put out there is that have been made as well. Is that obviously we will have areas devolved to us that may be suitable, and also our town clerk is happy to go away and have a look at areas that are that could be suitable for this. So I just thought I'll put that out there, and then if we can get discussion, but I want to keep it as quick as possible if that's okay, so we can move on. Councillor Hunt.
Can I just clarify, Councillor, saying when you say a mugger, is that suitable for local football teams to be able to play games on? Is it suitable for training, or are you talking about an area that is multi-sport, whether it's you can play basketball in there, you can do, so it's different courts all within one area? Because I think if you're looking at a mugger that does all of those things to open it up to the variety of different people, I think it wouldn't solve any of the problems with regards to local football teams not being able to play football, training facilities, etc., etc. I think we maybe possibly on those lines look at something like a 4G pitch.
You're very, very right in that. I did think about that after I put it through, but I wanted to get the idea of a mugger. So a mugger would have a firmer ground, which a lot of people don't like training on because they use it for things like hockey or basketball or tennis as well. So it is a multi-use ground.
I think that's great for the community.
It is. A 3G or a 4G pitch, however, will solve the football problems.
Yeah.
I know the football problems are the biggest problems out there. I just didn't want to direct myself to that only, down that way. But I do know very, very well that with the teams there, I think there's over, is it something like 40, 50 teams that all have under 7s, under 8s, under 9s. So they all have those sub-teams within them as well in Bexhill. So the biggest problem with football, and a 3G or a 4G pitch as opposed to a mugger, such as the one in your college, would be what would help more.
Yes,
that's right.
Thank you. Councillor Flynn.
Yeah, I think the sentiments of this again are really good. However, we're not at that stage where we can actually decide what goes on to any of the grounds and recreations within Bexhill, and we'd probably be in the same lengthy problems we've got with the park at the Polegate there, Pebsham rather, sorry, where we're waiting for another council to do things. Really, this should come after we've got ownership of these properties, and so I respectfully ask Councillor L to probably amend the motion slightly along the lines of, once we take ownership of green land within Bexhill, games and recreation areas, can the clerk seek seek the possibilities of installing a mugger on those sites.
So my main aim was actually to read the room and see where everyone's idea was on here and move on to something like that, because we only thought about the fact of the devolving areas after I did send that in. So I would like to amend it if possible along the lines of that to, once the devolving of the green spaces are made to Bexhill Town Council, we would be able to check at the areas that we've got available for a potential mugger or sports facility. Basically, I just don't want it left behind. I wanted some sort of agreement that the council are happy to bring this forward when we have the time and the means to.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second on that? Or any discussion?
Clarify, it says developers in Pepsham. I presume that means Worsham.
Pepsham?
That's the new Gateway estate.
Yeah, well, that's Worsham. That's not Pepsham.
The other side of Pepsham.
It is Worsham, yeah, I think
Pepsham
so.
and Worsham. It is.
Yeah, you're right.
Worsham.
Yeah.
So that's
the other side of Pepsham, is the Gateway.
Yeah, so that's Vistry.
Thank you.
It's
Councillor Goss?
a couple of points. One is that ideally, if the planning people rather could get developers to put one on one of their sites. And the other thing is that the old prison site has now been taken over by Homes England for housing development. And the original, there's a requirement on that, was to have pitches, a number of pitches, as well as housing. And so if they could push it through on there and gain a number of pitches there,
Then
or liaise
unfortunately,
with
are we
Homes
not in the
England.
same situation with the Gateway, in the sense that they said that they were going to put 3 pitches on there, and now all of a sudden they're not.
It depends how strong they are. I mean, Homes England can be quite strong. I mean, basically they will be obtaining outline planning to then sell it on to developers. It's just what you can do with it. The area was identified for that.
This is just something I don't want to lose sight of.
I don't think it will hurt to put that through. And
No.
then once we get them, if we see that Homes England are going to do it, then, yeah. Okay, so do I have a seconder on that? Are you seconding?
I'm seconding, but I would say it could either be on greenfield or in an existing planned development like Northside, because the work.
Yeah, if we get, that could be amended to that. Or we could discuss with developers to see if there is anything like that being developed. And if it is, then we leave them to get on with it. And if they say no, like the others, then
But you might end up with the pictures on the hills.
I'm sure if they built them, they would be built, for that. Councillor Drayson.
Would we also agree to the clerk submitting that to the consultation on the local plan? That we, the town council, would like to see, if possible within the town, playing areas, playing fields, sports fields included in the developments. We might not, of course, but...
If the council feel that that's what they want me to put forward, I can go on to the...
Yeah, do we want to put that on now? Do we want to put it through as a...
I think, well, because of the way it's designed into all the different bits all over Rother, an email simply stating that would be fine.
Yeah.
Send it to the consultation.
So
but I would like
do
to
I have a
propose
seconder
that,
now
please.
on this? On this amendment?
I'd just like to put this forward as well. It's absolutely not the reason why I came up with the idea. The idea came up because of the children that need it.
Yeah.
But if Bexhill Town Council were to do this themselves, whether they use seal money or anything else, this would also be a kind of asset. The college is using it and split it up into 3, renting it out in hourly increments as well. So it would also be an asset for the town council. But that isn't the main idea behind it. The main idea is having somewhere for the children and grassroots teams.
I accept that, but I think adding the bit about writing to Rother to get it in the consultation for the rest of Bexhill doesn't detract from that.
Yeah, I'd be happy.
Could Councillor Drayson's suggestion be a second motion, just to make it easier to vote both through?
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So can I have a seconder for the first motion? Second that, yeah. So second motion.
Yeah, which is, what I've put is, once we have green spaces devolved from RDC to investigate what's available in relation to Mugger or 4G pitches of similar style, or discuss with developers if they are looking to include such a facility.
Yeah. Okay, Tom. Yeah. Thank you. And can I have a vote on that for? Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? Thank you. Well done. Carried. And then our next motion, if that's okay, Councillor Drayson.
To submit a request that the local plan that developers be required to consider or required to put in sports facilities in developments. Obviously, when it comes out the other end, it may be depending on sizes and the numbers of houses, but it's just the principle of rather start asking for some sports pitches, please.
Thank you. And a seconder for that? Councillor Peters. And a vote on that, please. Unanimous, carried. Thank you. Okay. So moving on, Councillor Plim, again, if you don't mind, if there can be a...
I will be very, very quick, and hopefully there won't be much discussion on this.
Yeah.
But I'll read through. This is what I would like us to do. That this council submits the following to Catesby Estates and district planning. Bexhill Town Council are extremely concerned with regards to the proposed development west of Ninfield Road. The lack of infrastructure to support such a development, in particular the small, narrow, single-track roads of St Mary's Lane and Pear Tree Lane and Turkey Road. We would like infrastructure ahead of homes. And that is basically what I want this council to show, some direction, because for far too long now, developers are basically they're taking the mickey out of Rother District Council, and well, there is a word, but they are sort of putting development in left, right and centre on a creaky old road system and infrastructure in Bexhill. And then once they've got their money, they don't stand to their promises, like we've now realised at Pepsham with a mugger that was going to go in there and the football pitches. They've stuffed their money for the pockets and disappear, and we're left paying the price of it all. So let's give them some strategy of this. This would be strategy. Infrastructure first, ahead of homes.
Okay. Councillor Drayson, I'll go round.
I don't disagree with it, and I would also add this could go on a similar letter on the consultation on the local plan from this town council. The only thing I would just say, and I redeclare my interest not only as a member of the district council, as the chair of the planning committee, we're not had over. Unfortunately, they play the system, which is different to being had over.
Councillor Playgrove.
I think it's very difficult, and it's happening across all the country. I was reading some reports yesterday. You know, we need housing. There's no good, you know, we need housing. This country's having a big problem because there isn't enough. But obviously, as everybody here knows, and any sensible people know, we need the infrastructure as well. Otherwise, you know, it's no good whatsoever. And I don't know what it's going to take to actually get that message through and make it work. Because who's listening? You know, what do we do? Who do we go to? Who do we say this to? Thank you.
Councillor Jacklin.
I support the motion. So this is the area sort of Bexhill West, isn't it?
Yes.
It's not quite that sort of... Sorry, it's not on the beaten track, and so therefore the roads are not suitable. I'd also question, where does this housing need come from? Is it that Rother are being asked to make more houses for local needs, or are we being asked to house people who are not being housed elsewhere, and therefore satisfy other people's unmet housing needs?
It's a national problem.
Rother's housing target is based on a local need as calculated by the government, which should be 912 houses every year. But even if the local plan gets passed unchanged, it would still be only 495 houses a year, nowhere near the government's target. But a part of the local plan is a requirement to look next door to see if Hastings could take 500 of our houses, or perhaps Wealdon could take 500, and equally Hastings are seeing if we could take 200 of theirs. So there is that requirement, but I think generally the answer for us is no, we're full up.
Thank you. Councillor Byrne, I'm going to go to Councillor Goss, and then I'd like to get a vote, if that's okay. Thank you.
Just a plea for, well, first of all, redeclare my membership of Rother District Council. This particular problem is not overall lack of infrastructure, but it's a small, narrow, single-track road. That's not within Rother's grasp. The statutory responders there are highways, and very often Rother would like to be able to refuse, but we're not the statutory responder. If highways say it's adequate, and they say we've looked at everything, it doesn't matter what Rother Planning Committee says, the rules are highways have said yes. So it's a bigger problem than just Rother, and please don't get the impression that the Rother Planning Committee does not take into account local needs and local knowledge.
Thank you. Councillor
I
Goss.
was basically going to say the same thing. It's ESCC Highways who would deal with the roads rather than RDC planning. The only other thing is that I agree with the whole thing, but infrastructure, in terms of things like schools, surgeries, whatever, is the job of the district authority from the SIL money that they charge developers.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Drayson, then I'll go
Very
to
small
a
bit
vote.
on this, because I know North Bexhill was waiting for it. Yes, and I agree that infrastructure should be there first, but it was just because Councillor Goss said schools. If you build the school first, it's full up before you've built the houses because of people from everywhere else. So generally on developments, there's a time when the school is triggered, when they've built X number of houses. So it can, some of those things can never be there on day one because they won't be there for the people when they need it.
Thank you. I'm going to go to a vote on this then. Thank you. So do I have a seconder for this? Councillor Crotty. Can I have a vote, please, on this? Thank you.
And could I move that comment about infrastructure first be included on the previous letter to the consultation for the local plan? That we would like to
Do
see
we need a motion
infrastructure
for that?
first.
Yeah, so can I get a seconder for
I'll
that,
second
please? Thank you. And a vote for that?
Sorry to keep giving you jobs, Michelle.
Thank you. So I'm going to move on to, we're going to skip 15 because of time. We'll go to 16, which is to consider any new risks. No. Thank you. And then we're going to go to 17, which is date of next meeting, Wednesday the 25th, and this meeting is closed. Thank you very much.
Well done, Chair.